and I was able to sing on that EP, and I thank God because it allowed me to realize I had some gifts and talents I had no idea about. Even when you did a improv, my first improv, and it's on YouTube, Fury playing the guitar, and my title song is Freedom, and it's just amazing that you don't know what you have inside you till God connects you with certain people. And that's why I want to talk about the song by Kevin Woodley. Tell us about Kevin Woodley and his song, and then we'll bring it to the other part.
Sure. So Kevin Woodley is a gentleman. He's in his early 60s. He's incarcerated right now in Colorado. And I met him through this project we worked on called Territorial, which is it's the second full-length album that Die Jim Crow Records ever put out, and the first album we put out from a group that was in prison. And Kevin is originally from Chicago. He was trained as a blues singer, but he had roots from the South, I believe from Mississippi, and he has a lot of distinct early memories of going down South and seeing Jim Crow signs. His parents lived in the peak Jim Crow era, and so he put together this song which we ended up calling just simply Woodley, his last name. And it's sort of like a throwback. It's like a song that could have been released in the 1950s. And I don't know if you're going to play it, Apostle, but he's saying, don't call me Jim Crow. I'm not driving Mrs. Daisy. That old girl used to drive me crazy. He's just speaking his truth and saying that all I want to be is me, Kevin Woodley. I mean, Kevin's a really boisterous, jovial personality. I mean, he's differently abled. He's in a wheelchair. He has a lot of health conditions, but he's somebody who just radiates a positive kind of energy. And I really appreciate that about him. You can hear it in his music.
Amen. So I'm part of Die Jim Crow, and Fury said, Apostle, just take this and do what you want with it. Let me hear it. Well, I took that song, vamped it the way the Lord gave it to me, because it hit me hard. Then there was a guy I was working with that Fury had connected me with, and I told him, I want this sound in here, I want this here, and I want that. And he said, well, I don't know. I would send the guy to YouTube videos, and he did his part. And then I said, okay, it's missing something. So what I did, I sent it to Joyce. I said, Joyce, I need for you to add the flavor to make the difference in this. And I had titled Apostle Heloise. Joyce, tell them what happened when I sent that song to you.
Oh, wow. You sent it to me, and I remember thinking when I heard it, it was so authentic in terms of the way you were singing it. It just made me feel Jim Crow, that era. And because I tell people, I'm from South Louisiana, and when I was born, yes, that was an all-Black school, but my parents, there was still a school in the small town, but Black people were not allowed to attend. The Black families who had enough money to send their children maybe to a bigger city or to a Catholic school that would accept you and graduate from high school. And my grandfather, he was instrumental in, having a room to educate the Black children in the area, but it only took them so far. So hearing that song, I heard my grandfather, I heard my great-grandfather and grandmothers as well. And so since I know how it feels, it was really a pleasure to lay some sax on that one and feel that as well. So, I mean, it sounds crazy today, like to my kids, to tell them, you're just one generation away. It's really not that long ago when you think about it. And then especially finding out that my cousin, Daphne, after doing the DNA, she did further research, and we actually traced back when one of our 4 grandparents came from Togo, Africa, on a slave ship, and the exact plantation they were on, and and I'm just going to say the trials and tribulations thereon. So, yeah, it was a.
Today I want to talk about the first one we're going to talk about is Freedom. It's from her album Many Colors. It was written in honor of her grandfather. It's a Zydeco blues, Cajun Creole, Native American music, rhythm and blues from Louisiana. It's up-tempo, syncopated manner with a strong rhythmic core. The music is centered on an accordion with a special washboard. Now, there's a group that I've been following on Facebook, and they're in Texas. And that's all they do is play that. I've been trying to bop with them.
That's it. That's the groove. That's the groove. That's the groove.
Yeah, there's one guy there. I can't think of his name now, but everybody knows him. He danced with all the women. I mean, he be breaking it out. So
that's it.
Tell us this one Freedom that you wrote.
Freeman is my grandfather,
okay,
who was one of the originators of Zydeco. And a very short explanation or description of Zydeco is really Black people's version of Cajun music.
Okay.
You know, you put a little spin of blues on it, a little bit, you know what I mean, a little groove into it. But now, I think Zydeco has taken over the Cajun music, honestly, because all bands, it's not just, when I go back to Louisiana, I hear young people playing it and getting that groove and adding their taste to it. I mean, I'm trying to remember, Cupid Shuffle is a spin of Zydeco mixed in with, you know, the lyrics says, some say I'm a rapper, but I say no. But he mentioned something about Zydeco. So that influence on the Cajun music has gone real far. And so since my grandfather, I don't think he realized how influential he was. I didn't even realize it until I think I was grown and I was in a store and here in Dallas at about 30 something years ago, and I saw the front cover of a book was a Zydeco, not a Zydeco, but a Cajun musician named Abshire. And when I opened the book, I saw an article, or a chapter, or a section with about my grandfather, and I was like, "That's my grandfather." You know, or you walk into a Papa Do's restaurant in Houston and you see a picture of my grandfather on the wall, and so I think now there might be 4 or 5 books that have been printed that talks about him and his contribution. There are YouTube videos. His name is Freeman Fontenot. So what I did was I remembered that my grandfather back in the 70s was interviewed. So there was a Zydeco musician who told us he knew who he was. So I tracked him down and I can't remember his name now, but he was a fan of my grandfather's. He connected me with the college professor who did the interview. It was on reel to reel, and he sent it a digital copy, but it was really, really scratchy, distorted. So I cleaned it up. I bought some software to clean it up, and then I put together with him playing in the beginning. You can hear him on his accordion. That is really him playing accordion.